To the May 3rd Water and Sewer meeting. John, if you want to make a motion,
So moved.
the minutes, April 19th minutes have been approved. Mike, we'll first talk about, I guess, the backflow ordinance.
Yeah, and I think I forwarded all you guys this email, but this is the backflow ordinance, language from Doug Payne at Mass DEP that another water company has adopted. It's pretty basic, and it kind of mentions the second is this is kind of code, mass plumbing code anyway, but they really want us to have this kind of stuff in our in our rules and regs, I should say. So I think what I'll do is I can kind of cut and paste this into a document, and we can, for next meeting or whatever, we can maybe officially adopt this. We can, town council has already looked at it. They said,
I think this is good.
if we have to change any, I don't think there's any names to change in here or anything like that. So I think,
Hi, Peter.
I think we can, just, you guys can vote on it next meeting.
Sure.
We can put it in
Put it on
our,
the agenda for next.
put it into our rules and regs. It's very basic language.
Yeah,
But it
it's part
could-
of the plumbing code anyways.
Yeah, and it gets the job done, so
Yeah.
makes the DEP happy, and then they happy, we happy.
Yeah, this is the backflow. We just started, Peter. This is a backflow regulation that actually states in Mike, and we'll just essentially insert Stockbridge, town of Stockbridge.
Yeah, and it'll just go into our rules and regs, which I have a kind of a document I've been keeping with all of our rules and regs that we've done over the years, and I can even print that out and bring that as well for the next meeting, just to kind of, everybody can take it home and look at it or whatever, in case.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's, and we'll just vote on next meeting. Before we get the articles, Mike, you want to just talk a little bit about, when you called me about the flow from the lake into the, and you want to also talk about, did you bleed out that system today? Remember, you're going to do it at the bridge?
Yeah, so it kind of started over Easter weekend. The following week, we were having trouble with getting our full flow to the water treatment plant from the reservoir, which is a gravity line. It flows from the reservoir gravity all the way to the water plant. There's only just under 30 PSI static there, which is with nothing running. And we were down to like 5 PSI with the water filters both running, with both filters 100% open, trying to get as much water as we could. We usually get 600 gallons a minute there, and we were struggling to get 320. So half our flow was cut off. Of course, we know from last year, we were gonna put the new mooring ball out. We never did. We couldn't get our ducks in a row with the fire department to get out there, and I was texting Jay Ryan back and forth. So we had to go out and we had to find my first thing was, okay, the intake, we gotta go look at it and see what's going on. So we called our divers that inspect our tanks, and I scheduled them to come out. I guess it was last Friday, I guess, they came out, and after 3 hours of being out there, of course, the wind has just been relentless for us here, and it wasn't that it was a little less than usual. It was only like 15 miles an hour on Friday. Of course, we're blowing around out there with the ripple on the water. It was so hard to try to find it. We couldn't find it in the boat, but we gave them the general area, and they found it, and it was plugged up pretty good. The screen on the it's stainless steel screen. It's like a big top hat. It sits on the pipe out in the reservoir, and they cleaned it. They put the new mooring ball out there with a stainless steel chain, and yeah. So, and we're gonna make it a point. I think now that they've been out there, and they did make a suggestion. I asked them about, when I pulled the file on the intake, I had they had given me some pond liner matting, like the big thick rubber matting that they can put out around structure to keep the weeds from growing, and they can go out and clean that rubber matting off every year, every couple of years. And they also talked about, just jetting it, like, just they have a trash pump, 3-inch trash pump that they clean the tanks with. They'd go out, they have a pontoon boat that they go out with, and they said they could get it in the lake up there, no problem. And the divers just go down with the hose, pumping the water from the lake and just blast the debris out, like 30-foot ring all the way around the intake. So that's something we can look into as well. When I was through the file, I found Ty and Bond in 1968 started drawing plans up on this intake. So knowing Miles Moffett, I emailed him because it said Ty and Bond job number 428 on it. I said, Miles, can you look into this and see if there's anything? He found a whole set of plans. There's 3 pages, which documents everything really well. So he brought 2 sets down Friday and gave them to my brother because we leave at 2:30. He got to my brother Mark at the compactor before 3:30. So Saturday morning when I was working, my brother brought the sets of plans over. So progressively, the flow has been getting better. We're up to like 15 PSI static when the water's flowing. We're getting up to almost 500 gallons a minute. And I think somehow with that intake being plugged, that we might have pulled air in somewhere, because our air releases, like up at the 4 corners, there's air release manholes up there, and there's one out near Karen Williams. You see those like vent pipes sticking up on those Philco doors. I talked to our valve guy that comes and does all the maintenance in the plant, and he said when those style let air out on a vacuum, they will let air back in. So he's like, we might want to install check valves, and he's been texting me on and off all day about what his ideas are for it. Because Marky and I went up there to see if we could bleed any air off, and it was just gurgling. So I was almost like, man, I think I'm letting air back in. So I put my hand up over the ball valve, and it wasn't like pulling my hand, but the filters were running. So we did instantly think that, okay, maybe we have air stuck on the bridge that that's just getting paved and worked on. So Tony and I went up yesterday morning. We saw cut, the guys actually up there, Maxie's guys jackhammered because the blacktop was so thick that they put on. And we built structures, and I got some cast iron structures from Prescott's up in Pittsfield. So we have access to both of the corpse but we opened it up, nothing came out but water. So the only other mechanical thing that's in line up there because the pressure drop was at the pumping station as well, which kind of led us to believe that we weren't going to get any air off the bridge. But while we're doing this, we might as well gain access because they're only 1.5 feet deep in the road. There's a 10-inch check valve when you go up Averick Road. If you leave the pump house and you're going to go up on the dirt road towards the reservoir, there's a manhole there next to that raw water hydrant. There's a 10-inch check valve on the raw water main in that manhole. It's 130 years old. It's a mechanical 10-inch check valve with a big swing check in it. And I was thinking, and Mike, the guy that from Flowrite, was thinking that maybe that something broke in there and it's not letting the water through. Because there's only like 10 12 PSI there at that check valve. So that's the only other mechanical thing that we can really think of, but the flow is coming back now and Mike was thinking that maybe when that thing was getting plugged, we were letting air in. But
How about down at the old pump station? Is there a way that you can open valves there to just so that flows?
yeah, the first thing that we did was Tony was at the plant. We were on the phone and I shut the valve off. We thought maybe there was a leak somewhere out in the swamp or I shut the 8-inch valve off to the plant. There was zero flow and the pressure didn't drop off at all. So that was our first test. But it's really, it's kind of puzzling whether there's air in there somewhere and it's getting out on its own at the air releases, or that check valve is somehow compromised. I did go up. One of the things we did, Tony and I did that morning, we had that Monday off. So Tuesday we went up and flushed the raw water hydrant at Karen Williams's, and we flushed the one right near the new bridge. We don't have any more. The only other one they're from the new culvert bridge they put in there, 183 all the way to the plant. There's not another raw water hydrant. which makes me think maybe we should put one in down at the plant in the yard somewhere, just to be able to bleed air. It would get into the plant, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
So, Mike, do you have a profile of the line coming? I mean, some of the line is really old, some is new. You don't have an elevation profile.
The only old stuff that we have is the stuff from the screen house up out into the middle of the reservoir, and the short section from the new fire hydrant on Averick Road up near the screen house down to the screen house yard. So, and that has
But nothing between there and the plant.
That's all.
It's all new.
That's all new.
And you do have an elevation profile.
That was just put in at 5 feet, and those air release manholes were put where the high spots were.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I was getting to. Maybe there's a spot in there where,
There's, certainly could be. And the thing is it's 12-inch raw water main, it's 10-inch through the swamp. To properly scour a 12-inch water main, you need 900 gallons a minute. We cannot get 900 gallons a minute in that raw water main. It's just not going to happen, not with 12 PSI. It's just, there's never going to get that kind of flow. So,
I mean, if since it's raw water, any possibility you might want to have the FD
well, I thought about that. And
pressurize that?
the only thing I was worried about,
I mean, they could,
it's one of the thoughts I had to find the intake was to blow water back out and cause a current so the divers can see it. But the one thing I don't want to do is have a situation where we push stuff that's in the pipe into the screen and plug it from the inside, and we blow part of the pipe apart or blow the 90 off the end, and then we're really got a mess.
so that check valve, if you went to replace that check valve, that'd be pretty expensive.
We would take it right out because it does not need to be there anymore. We would just we demolish the manhole and put a straight piece of 10-inch pipe right through it and just backfill it.
Why not?
Yeah. Because it's a mechanical thing.
It's old.
It's 130 and counting. Check valves in the treatment plants we have need maintenance on them, and they're in a conditioned room, heated.
Right.
This thing's in a manhole, usually covered with groundwater. It's just, it's in the worst conditions it really can be in,
I
so.
think, I don't know what you guys feel, but I think, that's certainly,
Yeah.
if
It's
anything
right, of
else,
course, it's right in the middle of the blacktop area right there. We're gonna have to close the road off because the manhole goes out. We're gonna have to demo that, put some kind of maybe blue board and plywood over the top of the thing. So as we demolish the manhole to get it down to grade and dig it out of the way, we're gonna have bricks falling in and every other thing.
we can do that job.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And we'll talk to chief and we'll close the road off. And now that 183 is back, we'll be back opened up. That'll be something we're gonna have to put on the radar for this
Why
construction.
did they close that?
They're blacktopping.
Oh, blacktop.
They raised all the structures yesterday. Tony and I built the new structures on installed, and it was an all-day event. And they're milling today, and I thought it looked like it was back open this afternoon when I went by a little while ago, and they're paving it Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, because I went by there and all the milling looked done too.
Yeah, yeah. So knock on wood, it's getting better. But as to your point, Peter, when they did that profile out of the reservoir, and I remember Charlie Tenney, I've talked to him about this pipe quite a bit over the years. They almost thought they were gonna have to dig it back up and relay the pipe because they thought they had a high spot in the road where it came out of the lake and it went to the screen house.
Oh, really?
They were having trouble getting flow, but it ended up being, can't remember. Cause you're right at the surface of the water. I mean, there's,
That screen house that we have right at the Cove area, is there screens in there also, Mike? or-
yeah, there's screens in there, but we don't even have any flow going through it.
Oh, okay.
It's open, but we have the water going through that 12-inch bypass because the screen on that intake structure is probably fine, just as fine as the fine screens were in the screen house.
Okay.
So that screen, it's the thumb over the straw type of thing, you know, you got that screen up in the middle of that lake that was really plugged up with stuff. And you got,
Some of that
trying to get
stuff-
that flow all the way down to the lake, it's starting to pull a vacuum, so.
How about some of that stuff started coming down through the pipe? I mean, obviously when we're doing it, some of the stuff obviously went down into the pipe.
Yeah, you're always gonna
Yeah, I
have
was
some
gonna say,
fine.
you think of that check valve, let's say that check valve, there's a little something, an issue with that. Some of that schmake could have been cut.
Yeah, and we got a turbidimeter that it takes the water turbidity from the lake up there for 24/7, 365 days out of the year. And our water is very clean coming out of that lake. We're very fortunate. It's like a 1.5 to a 2, which is really clean water. So that's been that saga. And knock on wood, thankfully, it's been, progressively getting better every day. It seems to be.
But going back to that, the screen and stuff, I think we should have I think that should be done yearly.
I think it should be. They only charged us $3,800 to come out and do that. And I think we should have them come out here every single summer and do it.
I do too.
How often do we have them do the tank?
They have to do the tank by regulation every 5 years.
Okay.
But I think it's just a really important thing to even just have them come out every year. When the weeds are growing, I think is a good time to have them come out.
Too. That just eliminates an issue that may fester itself.
Yeah, he said, just have us come out. This is what we do. He's like, we do this every day. We're doing it down in Florida in the wintertime. I talked to my buddy in Winston, Connecticut, and they do all his tanks. They do all their intake structures. They're a great outfit. They know what they're doing. So I think it's short money for the.
Yeah. Oh, well, we always do the maintenance thing. We're
Yep.
always one step ahead, hopefully, and that's just another thing.
And they can inspect the mooring ball, they can inspect, the mooring ball that we got and we had, same one, it's styrofoam. So I'm wondering if the ice might have even broke the other one, and then when it melted, the styrofoam just fell apart and down went.
What do you have now? You have a regular,
It's another styrofoam one. They're expensive.
Heavy duty though.
It's real heavy duty. I mean, it's got a big,
wasn't I remember the last one, I think I gave you one year.
that's from Cape Cod. It was out there for years.
Yeah, so that's Jesus,
So-
that's old.
Yeah, so,
That's real.
that's another thing that when they come,
You got it, probably.
when they come, they can, they can look at the mooring, make sure it's.
condition of it.
They did measure down from the boat when they were out there, down to the top of the, top of the screen. We have 71 inches of water, so 6 feet of water over the top of the screen. And then the top of the screen is probably, I want to say it's like 24 or 30 inches tall, 20, something like that. And then the other thing is, there's no access to get like a sewer jetter or anything in it to go out and, we flushed, the pipe gets flushed, and it is 12-inch ductile iron. It's cement lined. They called it cast iron, but, it is cement lined pipe. So you're not going to get all the tuberculation inside it. And so, and they did that in 73, 74, cause it's all river crossing pipe, flexible river crossing pipe in the reservoir. And it's pushed together pipe on from the shoreline into the screen house.
Okay. Articles, do we have the articles that are going to be at the warrant for the town meeting?
I did not bring mine. I think I emailed every one of them a while back, but I can certainly email them all tomorrow morning.
Yeah, if you would.
Yeah.
Are you going to be at the meeting?
Oh, of course.
I will not. I'm going to be away.
Okay. Yeah,
I think I have 7 totaling about $100,000.
all available surplus.
Yes.
So I've got,
Tony can-
we share two. We're sharing the 6,500 for the billing software.
Yep.
We're sharing a three-way split for the equipment trailer with the highway, water, sewer. That's 7,000 apiece. I have, as you guys know, the phase 3 of the I&I project, which was going to be ARPA, but we've decided to take it out of sewer surplus. That was at the last meeting 2 weeks ago. That's 99,200. And then, of course, the sewer debt, which
Which is 90 something, isn't it?
96, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, that's it. So pretty much, and then the budget will be exactly the same except for the salary increase per union contract and $10,000 for the new testing that the new permit had in it.
Now, last year, did we have that clicker last year for the town meeting?
Oh, I wasn't there. I was up in New Hampshire.
Voting clicker.
Did we have the voting clicker last
I
year?
believe you did.
I don't know. It was a 14-hour meeting, so I sort of lost track.
Barrington went 2 days last year, remember?
Yeah. But what we have 50 some odd articles, but maybe we'll be able to whip through them. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so I just thinking out loud here, I have the 20-year master plan required by DEP. The software and the trailer, which are split. The bathymetry and the safe yield for the reservoir. That turbine feasibility study, the raw water turbine, which we wouldn't be getting much power out of it right now.
One light bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah, crank her up, Mike.
You know,
I am.
we can always, you know, roll that money back into surplus if we don't think it's worth spending. You know, it's a neat idea and it's short, it's only, you know,
How much is it?
10,000.
But it's almost as if that if it does go through, we may even get reimbursed somehow. There might be a grant for
Oh, there certainly will be.
that kind of stuff.
That feasibility study, I don't know if it'll get covered, but it's certainly the construction, there's some very, very good incentives out there for that kind of work.
Yeah, good.
And
I think we should.
just can't,
Should move forward with it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I'm trying to think of the other two. I have two more. Thought there was 6 or 7, but I can.
Wasn't there to paint something, Mike?
Oh, the painting of the roof of the water plant. Yeah, yeah. And then maybe.
Didn't we do this?
No, we
sewer
got to do
plant
sometime
2
to
years
his picture stairs.
ago? We painted
Yeah,
sewer plant.
that's
A couple years ago.
I know.
Can
The water gets down in there.
can that be a patch job or no?
Well, they've been patched twice. We had
Okay.
Brian Hogue Concrete come down and do them, and they put that epoxy on there to try to help the water from getting in them. And yeah, it's some of the rebar was kind of close up on top, so the salt perks down in and it just gets in that rebar and starts breaking things apart. Yeah, I can't even imagine what it would be to kind of replace that thing.
Yeah, well,
I know that chunk,
many-
that chunk came off the front down on the bottom step, you know, which is right near the railing, so you don't step there, but it's frustrating.
okay, the stewardship committee meeting. Mike, you said number one, you were up at the lake
We were up at the lake last Friday.
and fun up there.
Yeah, it was nice and windy. And we got all the first round of data and samples and everything was good. The water column was mixed from the top right to the bottom. All the data was almost identical. So there's no,
Is there, I meant to ask Mike that. Is there any updates on the beach and how the progress is going with the parking and?
Huey's just mentioned he's gonna get his crew back up there eventually, but I don't know. I mean, unless Tony.
I was up there with him this afternoon for a little bit and he's got the plan out and he's laying out the parking lot and he's got it all painted out, you know, approximates, and he's got a guy from Foresight coming down to look at it, compare it to the plan. And then I believe the excavator's sitting there. I think his next move is to break more ground up there.
'Cause I haven't heard anything more about
It's quite a project. There's a lot.
I can't imagine. Well, it needs it. I mean, so it's good. It's a good project. I haven't heard anything about the kayak racks at all, so I guess that's all. I haven't heard
They're getting
anything.
moved up.
I heard they were supposed to build some other ones, I thought, but
I think that's all timing with the project.
yeah, because I haven't heard anything as far as assigning racks status, if you will.
You're gonna get the highest one on the list.
I told him I was a geezer. I said, geez, I got a heavy canoe. I'm a geezer. I put yes, handicap. Yeah, they'll put that way up on top. Rose, give me a hand here. Okay, Tony, you have anything?
Just, normal stuff, no real concerns, just, busy. We're busy with spring and the bridge and, pump station issues at Park Street as usual, and spent the whole morning down there, Mike can attest. Working on stuff, keeping the place running, trying to.
I haven't heard anything about Glendale, so we must be,
Yeah, no, I think the natives are,
yeah, I think.
okay over there for the time
Quiet
being.
them down, so it's good, drive by them.
Not warm yet. Windows are closed.
Yeah. Noise.
Oh, no, they're very much around over there, checking it out.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, actually, I really should go over there and there's a bench in front of the firehouse that there's all dead reeds or something growing in there. I should clean that up and get that plastic wrap that they put in front, put it on the side and make it, I don't know what the hell they left it there. It's been there for
I think
3 months.
There's an article on the town warrant for the fire stations to get.
Yeah, I talked to Vinny. Vinny
improvements.
really wants to do something
Yeah.
at Glendale Station,
Yeah.
which is excellent.
Interlake needs some work too.
Yeah.
He's painting and.
Yeah, he's going to put the old Glendale sign back up. He's got a good plan for that station, which is,
He's got a little area that he's got the okay to excavate now, I guess, alongside Glendale there.
did they get that nod?
Yeah.
There was no opposition at the hearing.
That's because I wasn't there. But anyway,
Nobody was there. I guess you don't feel strongly enough to attend. So
I didn't see where it was being held. But
I'm
anyway,
sure that's gone out on the proper channels just now.
oh, I am sure it went on the proper channels. Yeah, but anyway, Mike?
Only thing I have is, we have a new water application that came in that you guys saw 'em already. I think you signed them.
We signed a few of them.
The Morris Estate up there, it's the old Swan Estate is putting in the new barn that they're building. They're putting a dedicated 2-inch water main in for fire. So Andy Williams is contacted and what's his name? Peter Whitehead came down today with the application and he's gonna come up and I think pay for the water connection, the $2,000 this week to see Christine and Eric.
So we're calling that a barn.
Whatever.
They're calling it a
It's
barn.
bigger than the
You
house.
don't have a barn like that in your property.
I got a barn.
And the only other thing I have is all the, all the water and sewer generators were all serviced last month or something like that. We just got all the oil analyses in and all that stuff, so everything, those are all squared away.
Excellent.
What's happening with the infiltration studies? Anything?
We're going to, there's an article on the warrant for the third phase of it to start. So we'll be moving forward sometime after July 1 when the money becomes available to keep moving forward.
Trying to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, it was we've got a lot, we got some of it there on the cemetery easement and the,
You're looking in there, you're looking with the scope, you're checking it out, see where to start.
well, the first two phases, we put meters into kind of at different areas to find where, we got an uptick in flow when, obviously that was observed through weather events. So if you had a weather event, and then they come every Friday and read the meter and, we were documenting how much rain and everything. So there's all kinds of charts and graphs and, reports on that. But, our system is over 20 miles. 20 miles of sewer. So, to break that down into sub areas and isolate flows and it's involved.
So that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And then be prepared to fix it.
Yeah.
This is the cheap part.
Yeah, definitely. Well, number one, really to find it though.
Yeah,
You're
narrow it
right, then
down,
pay
yeah.
for it, yeah. Well, that money, that other 90 some odd $1,000, Mike said they're gonna earmark that for that project,
For what projects? Oh, the fixing of it?
for fixing. Remember with,
That'll get it-
because we're giving
get in the
up that
ground.
100,000. So because that, they were gonna cover that 100,000. Now we're covering the 100,000.
Going to be a payoff, I think he said.
Yeah, exactly. Good, good. All right. Anything else?
I'm all set.
Someone want to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. You know,